if you see a 12, because from my experience with drugs was many, like 20 years ago, if you see someone now who's watching this YouTube video on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, driving, watching this with a drug issue, what would you tell that person?
Man, so I always tell people that no matter what drug someone's using, how deep they are in their addiction, if you're a true drug addict, there is somebody deep inside of you that is a prisoner that does not want to do drugs. So when I talk to a family member and they're like, oh, this person doesn't want help, or this person doesn't want to get better, or whatever, if they're a drug addict, there's somebody in there that wants help.
Yeah.
So what I always tell people is that you have to connect with that person that's a prisoner, and you might think that helping them doesn't do anything. Sure. But when you get clean, you remember every conversation people had with you. You remember everything someone ever said to you. So like in court, when they're like, oh, please ignore what was just said, like you can't, you can't. So it's like, I always tell people that you got to try to find that window of opportunity, because even the worst drug addicts that don't want to get clean, that have no interest in getting clean, still think about getting clean. You cannot be a drug addict and not think about getting clean. So you might not think about it that much or that often. It's always in the back of your head. And what I want people to know is that if you're using and you don't think it's possible, or you don't think that it's going to happen for you, and you resonate with, hey, I do want to get clean, but a lot of people just don't think it's possible. So it's like, why even think about it? So what I always say to people is that once you start fanning that flame of like, maybe you can get clean, just start asking questions on how to get clean, start following people who are clean, start reaching out to people. And then I truly believe like God, the universe, gives you what you're looking for. And there's a lot of times where I've heard people share a story, and like as soon as they start thinking about getting help, they somehow find help. It's like, when I was on drugs, there was times where I started thinking about ways to get money, and I would find ways to get money. Law of attraction. I heard this one guy speak. He was one of the first speakers I ever heard. And he was like, I was crying in my truck, and I was looking at my insurance card, and he used to buy all of his drugs with his insurance card. And he was crying, and he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I just keep getting high. This fucking insurance card, like, it's a trap. How can I get clean if like my drug of choice is able to be bought with this? And he was crying, and they flipped over the card, and on the bottom it said 1-800 something. If you're struggling with addiction, call this number.
There you go. The answer was right there.
So it's like, oftentimes it's like what you're looking for is looking for you. For you. So if you just start thinking about getting clean, just a little bit, that's going to open the door to making it happen.
Amazing.